There are days, my sister, when the world feels heavy, when you wake with the sun and yet still the light refuses to find you, when the reflection staring back at you in the mirror is not weakness, but weariness, not failure, but fatigue. There are days when the silence of your soul screams louder than any crowd. And in those moments, when your hands feel empty and your heart feels forgotten, you wonder, am I enough? Let me whisper something ancient into your bones. You were born with the fire already in you. You were carved from the earth, the ocean, and the stars with power, dignity, and purpose woven into every breath you take. The world may have tried to teach you to bow your head, to dim your voice, to shrink yourself into silence, but you, beloved, were never meant to live small. You are not delicate. You are divine. You are not made to be breakable. You are made to rise. Yes, you have been wounded. Yes, you have been underestimated, overlooked, and unheard. But let me remind you, roses grow from ashes and diamonds are born under pressure. That Angelou, you are not the woman you were yesterday. You are the woman who rises again and again, even when the world says you shouldn't. Especially then. Today we do not gather in sorrow. Today we rise in strength, because a strong and unstoppable woman is not one who has never fallen. She is the one who chooses to rise again and again with grace in her spirit and fire in her steps. So if you're searching for your strength, if you're yearning to feel unstoppable, stay with me, heart open, eyes forward, because what lives in you is not fear. What lives in you is legacy. And now, my love, let us step into the sacred truths with open hearts and lifted heads. Let us begin. Let these be the 5 sacred keys carved into your becoming. And now, dear soul, walk with me through these 5 revelations. Breathe deep, for here are the 5 secrets your spirit has been waiting to remember. There comes a time in every woman's life when she must decide no longer to run, no longer to hide, no longer to erase the lines of her own story. You see, it is easy to celebrate the victories. Angelo, it is easy to speak proudly of the days when the sun kissed your face, when laughter danced through the air and love flowed easily from your hands. But the true test of strength lies not in your ability to boast of the beautiful, but in your willingness to embrace the broken. To own your story without shame is to stand in front of the world, your soul unclothed, your truth unveiled, and say, yes, this is who I am. These are the paths I walked. These are the mistakes I made. These are the losses I endured. And still I rise. It is not perfection that makes a woman powerful. It is her honesty. It is her refusal to pretend. It is her ability to hold every chapter of her life with grace, including the ones that nearly destroyed her. Some will try to silence you. Dr. Angelou, they will tell you that your past disqualifies you. They will whisper that your scars are too deep, your heart too bruised, your dreams too delayed. But oh my dear, don't you dare believe them. Your story is not your shame. Your story is your song. It is your sermon. It is your sword. It is the evidence that even when the world turned its back, even when you fell to your knees, even when you forgot how to pray, you still kept breathing. You still kept moving. You still kept becoming. Owning your story means you stop apologizing for your survival. Angelo, it means you no longer carry guilt for the things you had to do just to make it through. It means you stop hiding the tears the rage, the confusion, the yearning that shaped you. It means you stop shrinking so others can feel comfortable. You stop erasing your truth to fit into their expectations. You walk into rooms and take up space, not with arrogance, but with the sacred knowing that you belong, because you have lived, because you have learned, because you have endured. You see, the world tells women to be quiet, to smile when they want to scream, to sit still when they want to run, to look pretty while carrying the weight of invisible wounds. But strength, my love, has never been about appearances. Angelou, strength is not found in how still you can remain. It is found in how fiercely you own the movement of your soul. There is no shame in being human. There is no shame in heartbreak. There is no shame in choosing the wrong path before finding the right one. What matters is that you came back. What matters is that you gathered the pieces. What matters is that you learned how to love the woman staring back at you in the mirror, even when the world had nothing good to say about her. When you own your story, you stop asking for permission. You stop seeking validation. You stop needing others to confirm your worth, because you already know. You are not defined by your worst day. You are not defined by what they said, by what they did, by what you didn't have. You are defined by your decision to keep showing up, to keep loving, to keep growing. You may have been broken, but you are not ruined. You may have been betrayed, but you are not bitter. You may have been forgotten, but you are not invisible. Every piece of your story has made you who you are, and who you are is a woman of depth, of courage, of divine resilience. Do not let anyone turn your pain into something to be hidden. Let it be the roots that keep you grounded. Let it be the fire that fuels your voice. Let it be the reason you reach back for other women and say, I've been there. I know that place. And you will not stay there forever. Oh, owning your story is not about having all the answers. It is not about tying everything in a neat little bow and pretending that every chapter made sense. No, it is about the sacred act of saying, even the chapters I do not understand, I will still honor. Even the seasons that brought me to my knees, I will still include. Even the darkness that nearly swallowed me, I will not erase, because every part of me, every part, has earned the right to be seen. So tell your story, speak your truth, do it trembling, do it through tears. Do it with a voice that shakes, but do it, because your story holds power not just for you, but for every woman who has been told that she is too much, too broken, too loud, too complicated. Let them see that healing is possible, that redemption is real, that strength does not come from pretending you were never hurt, but from rising anyway. You do not owe anyone a filtered version of your journey. You do not have to pretend you've never fallen apart. The woman who can own every part of her story, the joy and the sorrow, the pride and the pain, is the woman who becomes unstoppable, because there is nothing left for the world to use against her. She has already embraced it all. And don't you dare forget, your story may be the very medicine someone else is praying for. There is a woman somewhere sitting in silence, wondering if she will ever make it out. And when you speak, when you stand boldly in your truth, you give her hope. You let her know she is not alone. You remind her that survival is not shameful. It is sacred. You are not here by accident. Every trial, every heartbreak, Every misstep has prepared you for this moment. You were not meant to carry shame. You were meant to carry wisdom. You were not meant to live in regret. You were meant to walk in redemption. And you were not meant to keep your story hidden in the shadows. You were meant to share it, to shine through it, to shake the world with it. So stand tall, speak boldly, love deeply, and own your story, not in pieces, not in fragments, not in half-truths, but fully, completely, without shame. Because your story, just as it is more than enough, and so are you. There is a sacred moment in every woman's journey where she must choose between silence and truth. That moment doesn't always come in the form of a grand confrontation or an angry stand. Sometimes it comes in the quiet, when no one is looking, when no one is clapping, when no one is listening but your own heart. And in that moment, something within you stirs. A voice long buried under years of people pleasing, under years of shrinking, of biting your tongue, of playing small, starts to rise. Not with fury, but with fire. Not with noise, but with truth. To speak with boldness, even when your voice trembles, is not about shouting over others. It is not about being loud for the sake of being heard. It is about honoring the sound of your own truth more than the comfort of your silence. It is about standing in the storm of expectation, tradition, and fear, and still choosing to say no more. Not today. Not like this. A trembling voice is not a weak voice. A trembling voice is the voice of someone who has known pain and chosen to rise anyway. A trembling voice is the sound of someone finding herself again after being silenced for too long. It is the sound of courage taking its first breath. And let me tell you, my dear, that breath is holy. That breath is strong. That breath is yours. You have every right to speak. Not because the world has given you permission, but because you were born with a voice. And that voice was meant to shape things. It was meant to tear down walls, to build bridges, to lift others, to protect you. Your voice was not meant to be buried under someone else's comfort. It was not meant to be locked away behind fear or shame. For too long, women have been taught to soften their edges, to say yes when they mean no, to be agreeable, palatable, pleasing. And in doing so, many have swallowed their truth, buried their needs, and silenced their dreams. But there comes a moment, there must come a moment when a woman decides that the cost of silence is too high, that her spirit cannot breathe in small spaces, that her dignity cannot survive in the shadows of suppression. Angelou, speaking with boldness, does not require perfection. It requires presence. It requires a decision to show up for yourself, to say what needs to be said, even if your voice cracks, even if your hands shake, even if your knees go weak beneath you. Because sometimes the most revolutionary thing a woman can do is speak her truth in a world that has tried to convince her she has none. Let me tell you something, your truth is not too much. Your truth is not too messy. Your truth is not too heavy. Your truth is your power. It is the rhythm of your soul finally learning to sing. And when you start to speak it, when you allow it to rise through the fear and the doubt, you become a force, not just for yourself, but for every woman who is still learning how to find her own voice. It may not always be easy. There will be people who are uncomfortable when you speak. There will be those who preferred you when you were quiet, when you were agreeable, when you were small. Let them be uncomfortable. Growth often is. But do not silence yourself to make others feel safe. That is not your calling. Your calling is to tell the truth, even if your voice quivers under the weight of it. Your voice has moved through generations. Your voice carries the strength of every woman who came before you. Women who were not allowed to speak. Women who were punished for telling the truth. Women who died with their stories still locked in their chests. When you speak, you honor them. When you speak, you continue what they began. You say, I am here. I matter. I will not be erased. So speak boldly, my sister. Speak when they expect you to be silent. Speak when they roll their eyes, when they dismiss you, when they try to explain your experience back to you. Speak even if they walk away. Speak even if no one claps. Speak even if your words come out in tears. Speak because your voice is not just a sound, it is a seed. And one day it will bloom into something that sets others free. There is healing in your honesty. There is strength in your story. There is purpose in your pain. Do not be afraid of how others will receive it. The right ones will lean in. The right ones will listen. And more than anything, you will be set free. Free from the weight of holding everything in. Free from the chains of what if. Free from the fear that your truth will destroy. No, beloved, your truth will not destroy. It will rebuild. You do not need the right words. You need the real ones. You do not need to speak eloquently. You need to speak honestly. Let it come as it is. And let it flow raw and real and unedited, because what makes your voice powerful is not how polished it is, but how true it is. Speak up for your boundaries. Speak up for your dreams. Speak up for the little girl inside you who was once told to be quiet. Speak up for your future self, the woman you are becoming, the one who is free, fearless, and fully alive. Every time you speak with boldness, even through trembling lips, you are writing her into being. And remember, this silence is not always peace. Sometimes silence is the loudest kind of suffering. And you deserve more than that. You deserve to be heard, to be known, to be respected, not just by others, but by yourself. When you speak, you are telling the world, I matter. And darling, you do. The world needs your voice. Not just the polished version. Not just the safe version. It needs the voice that shakes the room with truth. The voice that cracks with emotion. The voice that trembles but speaks anyway. Because that voice, that's the voice that changes things. So go on, open your mouth, stand in your truth, shake if you must. But speak. Speak because you are no longer waiting for permission. Speak because silence was never your destiny. Speak because your voice is your birthright. And it is time the world heard what it has been missing. Angelou, there is a point in every woman's journey when she learns. Sometimes through heartache, sometimes through wisdom, but always through experience, that her peace is not a luxury. It is not a soft, quiet dream reserved for retirement or faraway retreats. No, her peace is her power. Her peace is her foundation. Her peace is the place from which all healing, all creativity, all strength begins. And she must protect it, not timidly, not occasionally, but fiercely daily, like a sacred garden fenced by grace and guarded by intention. Too many women have been taught to give away everything: time, energy, love, presence, attention, without ever being told that it's okay to keep something for themselves. They were raised to believe that to love well is to give endlessly, to serve without rest, to endure without boundaries. And so they gave until there was nothing left. They poured until their cup cracked. They stayed in conversations, in relationships, in environments that drained them, hoping they could fix what was never theirs to carry. But peace, true peace, will not stay where it is disrespected. Peace is not passive. Peace is not weak. Peace is a decision. Peace is a battle. Peace is the brave and holy act of saying, I choose me. It is the bold refusal to allow chaos to make a home inside your soul. It is the line drawn between survival and self-abandonment. When a woman learns to protect her peace, she is no longer tossed about by the storms of other people's emotions. She becomes the calm in the center of the hurricane, not because life stops being hard, but because she has decided to stop letting the world decide how she feels inside her own skin. Peace is not the absence of noise, it is the ability to be still while the noise continues. It is not the absence of people, it is the presence of the right ones. It is not about controlling everything around you. It's about refusing to let everything around you control you. To protect your peace is to say, I don't have to attend every argument I'm invited to. I don't have to explain myself to people who are committed to misunderstanding me. I don't have to fix what I didn't break. I don't have to carry what is not mine to hold. This kind of peace, it requires boundaries. And boundaries are not walls built out of bitterness. They are gates built from self-respect. Boundaries say, I love you and I love me too. So I will not betray myself to stay connected to you. Boundaries are how you remind yourself and others that your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being matter. They are the fences around your garden. They're not to keep love out, but to keep poison from creeping in unnoticed. And make no mistake, peace requires solitude. Not isolation, but sacred solitude. Time away from the noise. Time to breathe without interruption. Time to feel your own feelings before they are drowned in the expectations of others. You must carve out space for stillness, for silence, for prayer, for meditation, for whatever it is that brings you back to center. Because a woman who does not make time for herself will always be exhausted trying to find herself in the lives of others. You do not owe anyone access to your spirit. Access must be earned, not assumed. Your presence is a privilege, not a punishment. If someone consistently brings anxiety, chaos, confusion, or fear into your life, Dr. Angelou, you have every right, every divine right, to say, I love you, but I love me more. That is not cruelty. That is clarity. That is peace. You have to be willing to disappoint people in order to not disappoint yourself. That is the price of peace. You have to be willing to say no when yes would betray your truth. You have to be willing to walk away from comfort in order to honor your growth. Angelou, and you must be willing to let go of the illusion that you can keep everyone happy while keeping yourself whole. You cannot, and you were never meant to. Protecting your peace also means releasing the past. Some of us are carrying old wounds like they're family heirlooms. We revisit betrayals, we relive pain, we reopen scars. And all the while our peace slips quietly away. You must learn how to forgive, not to forget, not to invite back in, but to free yourself from the chains of bitterness. You must learn how to let go, not because what happened was okay, but because you deserve to be okay, because you deserve to rest. because you deserve to breathe without pain attached to your every memory. Peace is in the letting go. Peace is in the choosing to heal. Peace is in the sacred space where your soul says, I will not carry this any longer. And let us not forget, your environment matters. Your home, your circle, your habits, they all speak life or death into your peace. You must become intentional about where you dwell and who you dwell with. Angelo, you must cultivate environments that pour into you, not just pull from you. Choose friends who make your spirit feel safe. Choose work that aligns with your values. Choose habits that nourish your mind and body. If it costs your peace, it's too expensive. There will always be demands. There will always be distractions. There will always be someone needing more of you. But peace. Peace is the reminder that you are not a machine. You are not a resource to be used up. You are not infinite energy. You are a living, breathing soul. And your peace is your breath, your pulse, your truth. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is sacred. It is holy. It is how you make room to hear the voice within. It is how you reconnect to the divine. It is how you remind yourself that you are still alive, still worthy, still whole. So take the phone call later. Say no without guilt. End the conversation early. Take the walk in silence. Leave the room that makes your spirit ache. Release the relationship that no longer honors your soul. Breathe deeply. Move gently. Speak kindly to yourself. Guard your heart with tenderness and strength. Water your garden with love, and pull up the weeds of shame, resentment, and fear. Because what grows in you matters. Because what lives in you deserves peace. You owe no one your chaos. You owe no one your burnout. But you owe yourself your peace. You owe yourself your wholeness. You owe yourself the freedom to bloom in a world that benefits from your exhaustion. And so, I say this to you with all the love I can pour into words. Protect your peace like a sacred garden. Because from that garden springs every beautiful thing you will ever become. There is a quiet revolution that takes place in a woman's life when she finally understands the beauty, the strength, the divinity wrapped in a single word no. Not the no that is offered with shame. Not the no that trembles under the weight of guilt. Not the no that seeks to be softened with 100 justifications. But a clean, clear, confident no that stands tall and still like a tree rooted deep in sacred ground. There comes a time when a woman must remember that she was not placed on this earth to stretch herself so thin that her soul becomes transparent. She was not created to live at the mercy of everyone else's desires, demands, and detours. She was not born to exist in the background of her own life, nodding politely while her boundaries are trampled. No, beloved, she was born to be bold. She was born to take up space. She was born to be whole. And wholeness begins with the boundaries that are spoken out loud and enforced with the truth of self-love. Saying no is not rejection, it is protection. It is the mother of all clarity. It is the act of choosing yourself without explanation. For too long, women have been trained to be agreeable. We have been raised to be likable. We have been taught that to be kind, we must be available. That to be loved, we must be accommodating. That to be accepted, we must be self-sacrificing. But that is not kindness. That is codependency dressed up in politeness. That is the path to resentment, not to freedom. Every time a woman says yes when she means no, a small piece of her truth gets silenced. Every time she stretches beyond her energy, beyond her values, beyond her limits just to keep the peace, she fractures her soul. And over time, those fractures deepen. The fatigue sets in, the joy slips away, the resentment begins to take root, and she wonders why she no longer recognizes herself in the mirror. But when she learns to say no unapologetically, everything begins to change. No to what drains her, no to what disrespects her, no to what distracts her from her purpose, no to conversations that go nowhere, no to expectations that shrink her, no to performances that exhaust her. And that no does not make her harsh. It does not make her selfish. It does not make her unkind. It makes her honest. It makes her anchored. It makes her real. When a woman says no, she is reclaiming her time. She is reclaiming her spirit. She is declaring that she is not a machine built to serve everyone else. She is a soul with a mission, a mind with dreams, a heart that needs tending. She cannot pour into others from a cup that stays empty. She cannot lead with light if she lives in darkness. There is a sacredness to choosing yourself. And part of that sacredness is honoring the limits your body whispers, the edges your spirit draws. No is not a punishment. No is not rejection. No is not the end of love. It is often the beginning of real love. Because any love that only exists when you are saying yes to your own harm is not love. That is control. That is transaction. That is not your calling. Saying no creates room for your real yes. When your life is cluttered with obligations you never wanted, with people you no longer align with commitments that weigh on your chest like bricks, there is no space left for joy. There is no space left for creativity, for rest, for the kind of silence where God speaks to you. But the moment you say no to what no longer serves you, the moment you release what you were never meant to carry, your yes becomes sacred again. You say yes to purpose, yes to healing, yes to alignment, yes to rest, yes to authenticity. And the beauty of saying no is that you don't have to explain yourself. You don't owe long essays to people who are uncomfortable with your boundaries. You don't need permission to protect your energy. You don't have to convince anyone that your no is valid. If they love you, they'll respect it. If they don't, they were never aligned with your evolution to begin with. Your no will offend people who benefited from your silence, from your compliance, from your willingness to put yourself last. Let them be offended. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. You are not responsible for or managing everyone's emotions. You are only responsible for honoring your truth. It takes courage to say no, especially for women who were raised to be the peacekeepers, the nurturers, the ones who hold everyone else together. But here is the truth that will set you free. It is not your job to hold everything and everyone. It is not your job to break yourself into smaller pieces so others can feel whole. You are not the glue for everyone's brokenness. You are not the fixer of every storm. You are not the answer to everyone's need. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to say, "This is not for me." You are allowed to say no even to people you love. You are allowed to choose yourself even when it disappoints others. And that choice, that powerful, painful, freeing choice, it is how you step into the woman you were always meant to be, a woman who says no with grace, a woman who says no with courage, a woman who says no without apology, because she has learned that her life is hers, her peace is hers, her energy is hers, and she will no longer give it away to please people who never made space for her truth. So speak your no with your head held high. Speak it with tenderness if you must, but speak it. Let it be the boundary that keeps you safe. Let it be the breath that keeps you whole. Let it be the fire that reminds you, I am worthy of choosing me. No is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your freedom. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she realizes the power in her own voice, the strength in her walk, and the sacredness of her individuality. That moment, however, does not come easily. It comes after the battles, after the doubts, after years of shifting and shrinking herself to fit into someone else's idea of who she should be. It comes after she has exhausted herself seeking applause from rooms that never understood her music. It comes after she has bent her back into contortions trying to be liked, accepted, chosen, or simply tolerated. And when that moment arrives, when she finally chooses to let go of the need for approval, something holy happens. She becomes free. Free to walk in her truth, even if her truth makes others uncomfortable. Free to dress the way she feels beautiful, speak the way she feels heard, move the way she feels divine. Free to stand tall in a room where no one claps because she is no longer performing. Free to be her full, complex, brilliant, radiant self without explanation or permission. That, beloved, is what it means to be unstoppable. The need for approval is a heavy chain. It disguises itself as humility. It dresses up as politeness. It cloaks itself in the language of being considerate. But at its root, it is fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of isolation. Fear of being misunderstood. And too often, women are taught to internalize that fear. We are taught to be small so that others feel big. We are taught to stay quiet so that others can be loud. Angelou, we are taught to tone down our light so it doesn't blind those who haven't yet found theirs. And in doing so, we dim ourselves, we mute our power. We become visitors in our own bodies, strangers to our own voice. But let me tell you this, your authenticity is your liberation. The moment you stop needing other people to sign your worth is the moment you remember you were born worthy. Not because of what you do, or what you wear, or who approves of you, but because of who you are. You are a soul with a purpose. You are a daughter of resilience. You are the echo of every woman who ever refused to disappear. You are the prayer your ancestors whispered under their breath. You are enough, just as you are. Seeking approval will have you running in circles. One day you're too much, the next day you're not enough. One moment they love your passion, the next they call it pride. One day your independence is admired, the next it's called intimidating. You will never win in a world that changes the rules every time you start to play. So stop playing, step off the stage, fold the costume, walk away from the audition, and just be. Be loud if you're loud. Be quiet if you're quiet. Be wild, be wise. Be soft, be fierce, be you. Unapologetically. Authenticity requires courage. It means you will sometimes walk alone. It means you will be misunderstood. It means people will project their fears onto your freedom. But here is the beautiful truth. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. You are not here to make people comfortable. You are here to be real. You are here to be light. You are here to live, not perform. And when you stop seeking approval, you start attracting alignment. The people who are meant for you will not ask you to shrink. They will not be confused by your power. They will not flinch at your boundaries. They will honor your truth because they are living theirs. But that alignment can't find you if you're hiding. It can't reach you if you're pretending. It can't recognize you if you've camouflaged yourself into invisibility. Letting go of approval is also an act of self-respect. It means you value your own opinion more than the noise of the crowd. It means you are no longer seeking mirrors in other people's eyes. You are seeing yourself clearly for the first time. And what a breathtaking reflection it is. A woman who knows herself, a woman who loves herself, a woman who chooses herself. Yes, it will be hard. The need for approval is deeply rooted. It may have started in childhood when you learned that love sometimes came with conditions. That being accepted meant being agreeable. That being praised meant being perfect. That being seen meant being useful. But you are no longer that child. You are not here to survive. You are here to soar. You are here to live in your fullness, not your fear. Start small. Say what you mean even if your voice shakes. Wear what feels like home to your body. Follow the passions that set your soul on fire, even if no one claps for you. Let people misunderstand you and keep walking anyway. Make peace with not being everyone's favorite, because your goal is not to be liked by everyone. It is to be loved by yourself. And you, my dear, are so worthy of that love. You will feel resistance at first. You will want to explain yourself. You will want to soften your edges. You will want to justify your choices. But don't. Stand tall. Speak gently. But speak clearly. You are allowed to say, "This is who I am." You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to grow in directions others can't follow. And what you'll find is that the more you choose authenticity, the more peace you'll experience. Peace that is not tied to performance. Joy that is not dependent on validation. Love that is not conditional. You'll find that your energy returns, your creativity flows, your spirit feels lighter. Because carrying the need for approval is like dragging a suitcase filled with bricks. The day you drop it, you'll wonder why you ever carried it for so long. This world will always have opinions. It will always have critics. It will always have boxes it wants to fit you into. But you were not born to live inside a box. You were born to break it, to build something more beautiful, more true, more you. So take a deep breath, let go of the mask, walk away from the script, step into the light as your whole, unfiltered, extraordinary self. Because the world doesn't need more copies. It needs your authenticity, your presence, your magic. Let go of the need for approval. Let go of the fear of being too much. Let go of the lie that says you have to earn love. You are already enough. Be that woman, the one who walks in truth, the one who does not beg to belong, the one who knows that the most powerful approval comes from within. Be her. Be free. Short conclusion. You are not here to shrink, to please, or to be understood by everyone. You are here to rise, to love yourself fiercely, and to walk boldly in your truth. The moment you stop chasing approval is the moment you begin to reclaim your power. You are strong, you are worthy, and most of all, you are enough just as you are. So live fully, speak freely, and Never apologize for being the woman the world could never contain.